The white liberal versus the white conservative great debate has been happening now for decades. But Malcolm X paraphrased it perfectly, probably more articulate than anybody who ever dared to broach this subject.
The white liberal differs from the white conservative only in one way. The liberal is more deceitful, more hypocritical than the conservative. Both want power, but the white liberal is the one who has perfected the art of posing as the Negro's friend and benefactor. And by winning the friendship and support of the Negro, the white liberal is able to use the Negro as a pawn or a weapon in this political football game that is constantly raging between the white liberals and the white conservatives. The American Negro is nothing but a political football, and the white liberals control this ball through tricks or tokenism.
Truthfully, what Malcolm X just stated could be reduced beyond race. It could be reduced to ideologues. Simply, anybody who's willing to go against their self-interest for a particular cause has to be met with suspicion by the people who dominate that cause. For example, if Asians are marching for affirmative action, they have to be met with suspicion because affirmative action hurts them particularly. If a white man is marching for reparations for black folks, he got to be met with suspicion because it could just be him doing a good cause, but it usually comes with an ulterior motive and an agenda, because why are you that invested in something that goes against your best interest? Humans don't work like that, but some people are just good, naive idiots. So you have to identify who's the good, naive idiot and who has an ulterior motive. And this Skip Bayless situation exemplifies that perfectly. You see, Skip Bayless has been a figurehead in sports media for a while now, and he has a track record, to be fair, of being a staunch advocate for social justice issues.
BLM, Black Lives Matter, is pathetic once again. Obama, you are pathetic once again. Everyone involved should be locked behind bars like animals. Skip, what is your reaction?
Joy, Shannon, I am ashamed to share this man's skin color. These are strictly my personal feelings, but I remain outraged that those who run the Philadelphia Eagles did so little in reaction to that word that Riley Cooper spoke.
And tossing alley oops and putting on black folks.
When Skip left ESPN to come here, he wanted me to work with him. Mm-hmm. But Fox and FS1, they wanted another journalist guy. Mm-hmm. Because they said, okay, yes, Shannon can talk about football, but can he talk about other sports? Yeah. And it was like, well, Skip, we really think? Skip says, nope, I want him. Mm-hmm. Well, Skip, let's see. Skip says, no. Skip says, I don't want to interview with anybody. I don't want to do anything. I want him. That's the guy. I've done my homework on him. I know what everybody said about him, hard work. He'll put the work in. So Skip went to bat for me.
It's big.
Let's just say everybody wouldn't have done what Skip done.
For years, that was Skip's reputation. Just a good dude who loves to put on black folks and give them opportunities. There really wasn't no scandal. And then around the pandemic, people began to expose and reveal what Skip's true motives might have been. You see, Jemele Hill is somebody who Skip Bayless put on when he had his show called Cold Pizza. He made her a moderator and gave her one of her first opportunities. But Jemele Hill will go on the Breakfast Club during the pandemic and reveal an interaction she had with Skip Bayless that sort of gave her insight into who Skip Bayless really was.
And so, I mean, look, it's only two people. I don't mind saying who it is. I mean, Skip doesn't really fuck with me. So, you know, he was
sent her a 2-page email, went off on her. Got mad at her.
Emails.
He told her essentially he made her, and she traded on him.
He claimed what? Yeah, he claimed credit.
Stories like that don't really come to the surface much about Skip Bayless because he's really powerful in sports media. So if you're not as concrete or as confident in your position as Jemele Hill, you're probably not going to speak out against Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless is egomaniacal, where some people may see Skip Bayless speaking up for black issues and hiring black people as him walking the walk and fighting for social justice, while others like myself see it for what it really is. Skip Bayless is the epitome of what Malcolm X talked about and warned us about. You see, Skip Bayless will pander to these social justice issues to ingratiate himself to a particular community. Then he will poach the black talent that come on his shows and help him succeed and climb the ranks and do ratings, but he would disguise the mutually beneficial relationship as him doing the black talent a supreme favor. And when the black talent starts getting too big for their bridges, and when the black talent starts demanding equality, such as more say in the decision-making that goes on in the show, more stake in the show, Skip Bayless would terminate their relationship and move on and find a new black talent to help him succeed better ratings on a whole different show. He first ran that play on Stephen A. Smith. When Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless first started, it was clearly Skip Bayless' show. He was the star. But as Stephen A. Smith's popularity grew and his star grew, it became unclear as to whose show it was, and as Stephen A. Smith demanded more say-so in the decision-making and the topics that went on First Take, Skip Bayless couldn't take it. He terminated their relationship and moved on, and he tries to discredit what Stephen A. Smith brought to that show every chance he gets.
As much as I missed him and loved working with him, if he'd said, no, I just don't want to get up that early to do First Take, I'll stick with my gigs, I wouldn't have lost any sleep. I would have been just fine.
But the biggest indictment on Skip Bayless is what he did to Shannon Sharpe. What Skip Bayless did to Shannon Sharpe shows that Skip Bayless is not a giver or a savior. He's a manipulator and a user. He ran the same play he ran on Stephen A. Smith, but just 20 times worse on Shannon Sharpe. You see, Skip Bayless gave Shannon Sharpe an opportunity, then Shannon Sharpe took every chance he got to thank Skip Bayless for putting him on and giving him the opportunity. And then as Shannon Sharpe's star began to grow and popularity began to grow, Skip Bayless would then begin to disrespect him.
You have no objectivity. It's just straight Brady hate. Wait a minute. This is just straight hate by a guy who's jealous that he is still playing at a high level at 45 when you had to stop at 35.
Skip, that's what you do.
That's the point.
That's what you do. Every time I call something into question, I'm jealous.
No.
Skip, I did what I did.
I never said you were jealous of Baker Mayfield.
Skip, I did what I did. You make it seem like I was a bum. I'm in the effing Hall of Fame.
Okay,
I got 3 Super Bowls.
So what?
So what?
He's way better than you were.
I'm better than you.
Better.
Skip, what does that got to see what you do? You take personal shots.
No, I don't take personal shots. You started it.
Time out. You would take a personal shot at me.
I didn't take a personal shot at you.
Wait a minute.
What are you talking about?
You would take a personal...
Put your glasses back on.
Can I finish? You're willing to take a personal shot at me to say this man is better than me because I say he's playing bad this year?
Well, because you
Go ahead.
You disrespect him. It's just so.
You
know what? It's beneath your dignity.
You would disrespect me to support him.
No, well, I'll support him over anybody because he's the greatest player who ever played your game, and it's by far.
Have at it. Take off, bro.
There are reports began to surface that the same power struggle he had with Stephen A. Smith, he's having it with Shannon Sharpe as well. That Shannon Sharpe star power and popularity has grown, that Shannon Sharpe has earned his right for equality that you fight for, right, Skip? For equality in the decision-making that happens on the show. Because Skip Bayless would pick all the topics. Skip Bayless was in charge of everything, and Shannon Sharpe felt, yo, bro, I've been here for 6 years now. I should at least have a say in what goes on in the show and the topics.
Here's the real of what's going on over there and why we even got here. Skip Bayless runs that show. Not only does Skip Bayless make the most money over there, but he has the most power in terms of how he runs his show. So here's the problem. Skip is here. Shannon started here, used the relationship with Skip Bayless to get there. Shannon started to get way more popular. So when you're doing this in your real world, in your outer show world, but inside the borders and structure of the show you're on that's giving you all this jet fuel, nothing's changing. Even when you surpass Skip Bayless, you still have to be under him in terms of the show. They're not talking like friends. They're not even talking like friends that are beefing. They're talking like strangers. Skip knew he can always talk to Shannon because he knew he controlled the show. Skip also felt that he could control the show and control Shannon's job security.
Skip Bayless is perfectly fine with poaching talent and giving opportunity as long as that talent comes and help his show achieve record ratings and make his show a success. But once that talent starts to grow in popularity and rival him and starts asking for equity and stake in that particular show, now Skip Bayless don't like that because Skip Bayless wants control. He wants for Shannon Sharpe to know that Shannon Sharpe job security lies in his hands. He wants for Shannon Sharpe to always be a subordinate instead of an equal, as he would preach when he goes on his social justice diatribe. Eventually, that went on long enough and things came to an end, and it was announced that Shannon Sharpe would be departing from Undisputed. Now, when it was announced that Shannon Sharpe would be departing from Undisputed, it was announced as if it was Shannon Sharpe's choice to leave Undisputed.
Shannon decides that he no longer wants to be part of the show. Leaves. Why do you guys think that he left?
I think Skip is insufferable after a certain point.
And reporting like this sort of took the pressure off of Skip Bayless. They wasn't getting along, so Shannon Sharpe left. Shannon Sharpe's choice, Shannon Sharpe can always bounce back and find a new show, right? That was the narrative being pushed out, when in fact, it wasn't that. It's actually what Skip Bayless tried to do with Stephen A. Smith, but Stephen A. Smith at that time was just too big of a star and important for ESPN that they chose Stephen A. Smith 10 out of 10 times, and Skip Bayless had to depart. But Skip Bayless is actually one who pushed Shannon Sharpe out the door. Skip Bayless is who fired Shannon Sharpe.
The second that Shannon became available, and I like that you did this, by the way. Right. I like that you, hey, I make no qualm, I would like him over here. I like that for the business. But for the Skip stuff, I was like, oh, no, that's a jab. That hurts. You're going to go after the co-host so soon. You didn't care.
I didn't look at it that way.
Got it.
I would have looked at it that way if Shannon left of his own volition. I'm telling you he didn't. I'm telling you he was pushed out.
That's the first time I've ever heard that.
Well, I'm telling you, and it's fact. Now, they can deny it. He wouldn't. I can promise you that. He was pushed out. He didn't want to leave. He was notified that your services would no longer be needed. But again, that's his story to tell. But I'm telling you what I know. I'm giving you facts.
So after 6 years of blood, sweat, and tears, Skip Bayless just kicked Shannon Sharpe off a show that he helped make successful because he wanted equal say. He wanted to be treated like an equal. So now I ask you, is Skip Bayless, was he just a nice guy going outside of his self-interest and doing it for the cause? Or do you think Skip Bayless is a manipulator and a user? I believe that any black talent going into business with Skip Bayless should be extra careful and move with cautious, because that man is a snake. Y'all let me know in the comment section what y'all think, all right? But before you guys leave, man, click on the video somewhere on my screen to find out how Designer went from a one-hit wonder to rap first sex offender. I'm going to see you guys in this video somewhere on my screen. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.